The Justice League is not a good contingency plan for Batman. Let me explain. So a couple of months ago, I made this video and I asked the question, why doesn't the Justice League make a contingency plan for Batman if Batman's made so many contingency plans for the Justice League? Now, because I used a picture of Justice League Doom in the background of that video, people were asking me, did you not watch the movie? At the end of it, Batman says that the contingency plan against himself is the Justice League. And to that, I'd have to say, did you not watch the movie? Because it was legitimately just a 1-hour montage showing off how Batman could have dogged the Justice League, and all of his plans worked. As a matter of fact, these contingency plans worked so well that after we go through them one by one, I won't even need to convince you why the Justice League isn't a good contingency plan for Batman. But before we get into it, I would just like to real quickly say thank you guys so much for almost 6,000 subscribers. Honestly, the growth that I've seen from just the past 2 videos alone has just been mind-blowing. But anyway, thanks again. Now let's get back into the video. So Justice League Doom starts by showing us the Justice League stopping a bank heist. But this part of the movie is really just used to introduce us to the Justice League. Where we really get into the meat and potatoes is after the Justice League saves the day and Batman gets the crap out of there. Now, I want everyone to pay attention to how he zips off like nothing is wrong and only shows weakness once no one else is around. Come here. That's called aura farming. Ever heard of it? Puss. Anyway, Batman continues to display king behavior because as soon as he gets in the car, he adjusts his rearview mirror before hitting one of these. So after Batman pulls into the Batcave and Alfred greets him, feeds him, and puts him to bed, we see Mirror Master getting out of the Batmobile and sneaking around like a little sneaky boy. Now keep this in mind because it will be important later. But important is actually now because we see him in the very next scene, gathering with all the other villains. And whatever he gathered from the Batcave, he is now incorporating that in whatever the villains are planning. So it was kind of important immediately. Now, I was going to save this reveal for later the same way that the movie does, but you guys already know what this is. Mirror Master took Batman's contingency plans, and now the villains are going to use those contingency plans to kill the Justice League, and Batman is the first victim. So what they do to Batman is a completely original plan because there is no way that 1, he thought to do this to himself, and 2, put it in a Google Doc so that if he went rogue, someone would do this to him. And now I'll just stop with the anticipation because basically Bane dug up Batman's parents, kicked Batman into the grave of his parents, and then buried him alive with the skeleton of his parents. So I guess it's not really accurate to say that he was a victim of his own contingency plan, but he was definitely a victim. Now the next hero we see is Martian Manhunter, and before I get into how he was taken down, let me just be completely honest when I say that out of all the heroes, I think his defeat was the most preventable, and it's not even close. Now, I'm not going to say why until the end, but just look out for the signs. So in this scene, we come to understand that it's Martian Manhunter's birthday, and his coworkers have thrown a surprise party for him. Now, John, that's Martian Manhunter, finds this a little bit odd because no one is supposed to know his birthday. Now, he doesn't pay too much attention to this detail because it kind of gets chalked up as one of his female coworkers just being interested in him. Plus, there was another girl in the bar who sent him a drink, so that's even less reason to pay attention to this detail, because now he's got to go over and mingle. So he does just that. He walks over to the lady who bought him the drink, he thanks her for the drink, and then he takes a sip of the drink. Now, do you remember the birthday detail? Well, that actually doesn't matter because it was the drink. She spiked it. And so basically she spiked him with a chemical that is not good for Martians because once ingested by a Martian, it will make that Martian flammable. And once that Martian is on fire and they still have that poison in their system, they will not be extinguished until that poison is excreted from their system. And if you know anything about Martian Manhunter, then you probably know that his greatest weakness is fire, so he was not having a good time. But wait, Ty, you said that out of all the contingency plans, Martian Manhunters was the most preventable if we just looked out for the signs. But you never pointed them out. Okay, alright, hold your horses. Let's just think about this for a second. Martian Manhunter's human form is a black man. The woman who bought him a drink had blonde hair and blue eyes.
It appears you've been snow bunnied.
Now, the next contingency plan we see is used against the Flash, and I think this one was the most creative and most interesting way to take out one of the heroes. So in this scene, the Mirror Master explains to the Flash that this old lady is in something he calls the hostage box. And this hostage box is set to explode along with the old lady inside unless the Flash reaches in through the top and finds the combination to the box. Now, this is the part of the contraption that makes this the contingency plan. Once the Flash reaches his hand inside of the box, a device will come up and hook onto his arm. And this device is a bomb. And if he tries to take it off, it will explode. If he doesn't run in the next 15 seconds, it will explode. And once he starts running, if he doesn't maintain a consistent speed, then it will explode. And that's why this was the most interesting contingency plan to me, because most of the time when you see a speedster in a conflict, it feels like that speedster has all of the time and all of the options in the world. But this contraption only gave the Flash 15 seconds and one option. Sure, if the Mirror Master was there, he could have beat him up, but that wouldn't have changed anything if he wanted to save the grandma. Now, with my favorite contingency plan out of the way, we can finally move on to my least favorite contingency plan, and that's what they did with Green Lantern. Now, I don't dislike Green Lantern's contingency plan because it was bad. I just dislike it because I don't really know too much about Green Lantern, but I'll try to give you a little breakdown. So in the scene with Hal Jordan, we see that he's in a mine shaft, and some of the miners have taken some of the other miners hostage. But we see that he's actually able to save almost all of the miners except for one lady named Carol. Now, when he goes to save Carol, he's met with the captor who has a bomb. And the captor ends up blowing himself up with Carol. Now, when I first saw this, I was like, what the hell? How was that a contingency plan? But then a Star Sapphire came in, and she kind of gave Hal Jordan like the reverse talk no jutsu, where she was telling him he's not worthy and that he shouldn't have the power that he has. And so this, in combination with the fact that he was holding a deceased woman in his arms, was enough to make him believe that everything that the Star Sapphire said was actually true. And so now that I think about it, this was a pretty good contingency plan. An interesting side note, the voice of Green Lantern in this movie is Nathan Fillion, who will be playing Green Lantern in the upcoming Superman movie. So that was a pretty cool transition, right? Because the next contingency plan we see is Superman's contingency plan, and interestingly enough, his contingency plan also hinges on the fact that someone is threatening to finish themselves. I hope your mom or your girlfriend walked in and saw that part. But anyway, the scene starts by showing us a man standing on top of the Daily Planet, and he's threatening to jump, but obviously Superman can't let that happen, so he flies up there. And once he's up there, he starts talking to the dude, and he's just trying to convince him that everything is chill, but in the middle of their conversation, the dude pulls out the 9 and he shoots Superman with a kryptonite bullet. Now, this contingency plan wasn't too surprising because kryptonite is always the plan for Superman. However, this plan did make me realize one thing. So at the end of Justice League Doom, Batman has this famous speech where he basically tells the Justice League, I'm not sorry for making contingency plans against you guys, because you guys are so powerful that just the chance that you guys might go rogue is enough to warrant me making these plans. And so this speech brings me back to what the Superman contingency plan made me realize. So if Batman made all of these plans just in case any of the League members went rogue, then why do all of the plans hinge on the fact that the League members would be doing the right thing? Flash has to save the grandma, Green Lantern has to save the hostages, Superman has to save this dude, and Martian Manhunter has to be willing to play in the snow. Now, with that in mind, let's just think about this for a second. So if Batman is using these contingency plans, it would have to be in a situation where the Justice League is still willing to do the right thing, which implies that Batman is the one doing the wrong things, meaning he's the one that went rogue. And that actually brings me back to my original point. In what world is the Justice League a good contingency plan for a rogue Batman if they got dogged this hard? And I just want to emphasize how badly they actually got clapped by bringing up the fact that most of the villains enacted Batman's plan and then just walked away unscathed. Wait, but Ty, you didn't mention Wonder Woman. That's because it gets worse if I bring up Wonder Woman. So the plan that Batman came up with for Wonder Woman was basically trick her into fighting until she either collapses from exhaustion or her heart stops. Okay, wait, that makes Wonder Woman sound like God of War 3 Kratos. How does that hurt the Justice League's chances against a rogue Batman? Well, it actually doesn't, but it does remind us of Batman Endgame because in that story, he used the same contingency plan to take down Wonder Woman. But that's not the crazy part about Endgame. The crazy part about Endgame is that not only did Batman start off handicapped, but he was caught off guard, the Justice League was bloodlusted, and by the end of that fight, he still put them in the hospital. So when Batman says that the Justice League is the contingency plan for a rogue Batman, I find it kind of hard to believe, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And thank you if you made it this far. It's kind of crazy that we really out here making all of these crazy gains. But yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time. Oh yeah, and I almost forgot. Anyone who is waiting for the Dynamic Duo Theory video, I promise you that one is still coming out, but it's kind of like the Superman Theory one. That one took me 3 weeks. I don't know why I thought this one was only going to take me 1 week. It's just a lot of research, but that one is coming, I promise. Alright, peace.